Yo, what's going on everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day. Welcome to today's Pokemon GO video. Okay, so over the weekend we had Mega Lucario Raid Day, and this was the debut of this long-awaited Mega Evolution, and I think all the hype surrounding this Mega Evolution is certainly up there. There's a lot of people who are excited about the debut of this Pokemon, and a lot of players are definitely planning to use it in future raids. Now, today I wanted to talk about whether or not this raid day was a success by any means. There was a lot of players who were voicing a lot of concerns with this event, and Niantic themselves did acknowledge a major issue with the event that affected a good number of trainers. But I do think that the overall sentiment around this raid day was pretty positive. A lot of players were saying how it was incredibly easy to take down Mega Lucario, and then on top of that, it was really exciting getting those shinies. But I really do think there are a couple of things that Niantic could take from this raid day for future raid days, and I really do hope some of the most positive lessons are learned from this particular event. Let's start off with the raid boss itself, Mega Lucario. There was a lot of gameplay implications behind this raid boss, on top of it being a brand new Mega Evolution, one that is going to be top tier for years to come. There was a lot of players who were really excited about getting themselves a shiny Lucario, and the shiny rate was relatively really good. There were some players who were very unlucky and not able to get a shiny, but for the most part the shiny rate was good enough where if you wanted a shiny, you could almost guarantee yourself one if you did enough raids. And I think because of that, Niantic did curb a lot of disappointment that players could have potentially felt. Getting shiny Lucario is quite an event. It's definitely one of those high valuable shinies. It's one of those Pokemon that a lot of players want. And the fact that you could get one really easily through this raid day, I think that was a huge plus, and it's something that Niantic should continue doing with these raid days. Having a boosted shiny rate from raids is definitely going to be something very positive for every single raid day, and it's something that Niantic has been doing. Now, the other aspect that I thought was a huge positive was of course the ease of defeating Mega Lucario raids. That is a huge thing when it comes to these raid days. The fact that there are so many players out there who cannot get a full raid group, it's going to be a lot better for them to be able to take down these raids solo or possibly even with just a duo. And I think that was one of the big pluses of this Mega Lucario raid day. The fact that every single one of those raids could be taken down with the least number of trainers as possible, that was definitely a big positive. I saw a lot of players who live in rural areas and low population areas have no difficulty taking down Mega Lucario. And then on top of that, if they needed some help, it was very easy for them to get just one or two other players through remote raids and they could still take it down. So I think this is something that for future raid days they should definitely consider. When it comes to the raid bosses, it has to be a Pokemon that they could take down very easily. I know some players will say that it is better to have raid bosses that are a little bit more difficult so that you could have a more sense of community. Niantic themselves might actually believe that, but in my opinion, I think it does a lot more for these events if you have the raid boss just a little bit easier. And on top of that, for a lot of those players who do have set raid groups, it does reward them as well because they could get a lot more raids done with that group. So yeah, this is something that I really hope Niantic continues to do with these raid days. Have them be very easy raid bosses. I'm talking like 3-star raids or Mega Evolutions that are a lot easier, and then have a lot of players have more accessibility with them. Now, the final thing, which I will say was a huge positive for this raid day, was the immense value that you got for spending money on that special raid ticket. The fact that you could get yourself guaranteed Rare Candy XL for every single raid, that was massive. A lot of players were getting a lot of value out of the money that they spent. And that is a key thing when it comes to these raid days. If you're going to be offering any kind of in-app purchases, make sure players are getting the best value for their buck. And I really felt like they accomplished that this time around. There was very little complaints regarding the event ticket for anyone who purchased it, and then for any player who did not purchase it, there was definitely a sense of FOMO because, well, they missed out on a lot of Rare Candy XL. And I really do think that this is a huge thing with future raid days. If they're going to be offering any kind of in-app purchases, whether it be an event ticket or any kind of I don't know, bundles of any kind. They really need to make sure players are getting their money's worth. That is a very huge thing. Now, of course, this event was not without any issues. There was a lot of bugs related to that event ticket in different regions of the world, and Niantic was very quick to respond to that. Basically, what the issues were was that in certain regions, they were not getting the event bonuses from the ticket purchase actually activated for a couple of hours. And because of that, they missed out on a lot of Rare Candy XL and they were not getting free raid passes. So Niantic made sure that for those affected regions, they got the full bonuses out of that ticket purchase. So they had a makeup raid day set for all of those regions, and for those players who were affected by this bug, they were able to get those bonus raid passes as well as those Rare Candy XL. So in a way, Niantic did good by the community by responding as quickly as possible. But in my opinion, this just goes to show that Niantic is not capable of having a polished experience with Pokemon Go. It just seems like with every single one of these events, there always is a guarantee that there's going to be some sort of issue. And I really do think this is something that Niantic needs to clean up, especially for future raid days. If they want to get players behind all of these very good events, then what they need to do is make sure that these events are polished up and fully tested so that there's no issues whenever they launch. And that has been something that has been needed with Pokemon Go for several years now, so I really hope Niantic gets their act together, because for future raid days, stuff like this needs to not happen. I mean, it's creating just this bad reputation with Niantic, and it's something that is not going to help their game at all. So I really do think that if Niantic wants to cash in on these event tickets, for example, then they need to make sure that these experiences are polished up. Otherwise, players will be very reluctant to buy any event tickets for future raid days. So yeah, overall, I will say that this experience was incredibly positive. I think for them to do more future raid days in the vein of Mega Lucario raid day would be a big positive for Pokemon Go. And I really do hope that they take a lot of the positive lessons and continue doing them. And for all the negatives, that they will watch out for them in future raid days. But yeah, I'm a big fan of raid days. You know, for anyone who is a longtime viewer of my channel, they would know that certain events that Niantic has, I'm a big fan of them. Raid day is definitely one of them. And I really do think that for Niantic, they should focus in on having more of these sort of events, because they only create a lot more positivity for Pokemon Go, and that's definitely something that the game needs right now. So yeah, in spite of all the misgivings that Niantic has been giving us as Pokemon Go players, I will have to call out all the positives that they do. Chalk this up as a definite positive for Pokemon Go. Give credit where credit is due. Niantic did a very good job with Mega Lucario Raid Day, and I do consider it a big success for Pokemon Go. So yeah, there's definitely going to be players out there who had their gripes with this Raid Day, and I totally understand those gripes. But I do think that at the same time, we have to acknowledge when Niantic does something right. So they get some positive reinforcement, and I'm a firm believer of that. So yeah, in any case, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts regarding Mega Lucario Raid Day down below. Did you have a good time with Mega Lucario Raid Day? What were some of the positive things that you experienced? And what are some of the negative things you experienced? I would like to know all of that in the comments, and let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. If you ended up enjoying it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that notification bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And real quick, let me give a shout out to all my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Jinsula channel and join all the players that you see on the bottom of your screen, make sure you go over to my Patreon and consider joining. If you do, you will get a permanent spot on my in-game Pokemon Go friends list. So that means for stuff like remote raids and the friendship system, if you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And if you want to support my channel in a different way, you can do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms that you see on screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow. And with that said, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.